What's going on, friends? This is Ben. I'm with Wild Last Frontier and I'm planning to make my first outdoor video. Unfortunately, all I have is my cell phone, and if people like what they see, then maybe I'll upgrade later on. Anyway, today, coming at you from the interior of Alaska, going out on a camping trip with my nice little puppy here. Hi, Belle. This is her first camping trip with me alone. She's gone out with my other dog and my wife and I, but this is her first time alone with me, so we'll see how she does. Look at that cute face. We're gonna hop on the four-wheeler and run off into the woods a couple miles, see if we can find a place to set up camp. Well, here's hoping she actually stays put, and this might take longer than I thought trying to get out there if she tries to jump off. I'm not taking any chances with her safety. She's my baby girl. Say hi. There she is. So one of the reasons I like coming out this way is because there are some gorgeous sights and a whole bunch of different environments that you run across just on this little four-wheeling trail out behind one of my favorite roadhouses. See if I can show you. Birch forest, all sorts of little ferns. And later on it's going to turn into a spruce forest, and then sort of some flatlands. It's a mix of both, and then we're going to reach out and touch the river, and that's where we're going to set up our camp. Now, fortunately, these are pretty old, a couple of days at least. It's been raining on and off the past few. Those are some big old moose tracks going through the mud there. Maybe a little hard to tell from the shape of the track, but there are 2 points there. I don't know if the shadows are working with me, but yeah, that's big old moose tracks. Everything's a little harder when you're by yourself. Just almost got stuck in this mud. Whew, gonna have to go around. Well, it was touch and go there for a bit. I almost got stuck a few times, but that's the nature of summer in Alaska. It's muddy, soupy mess wherever it's wet, hot and dry where it's not. All right, so this is more like it. I found some better moose tracks in the mud. There you go. Now you can see how well defined they are. The toes point that direction, right the way I'm going. And hand for scale. I can just about circle it with my hand, which means it's about a medium-sized moose, maybe a couple years old. By no means the biggest one I've ever seen. Hopefully they have a good time nibbling on some greenery and we don't run into each other. part of this is usable without my finger in the way of the lens. I guess we'll see. This is about the only part where I can open up, where it's flat, with very few or no mud holes or ruts. Oh, spoke too soon. Well, there was a squirrel up in that tree. He was right off the side of the road. Unfortunately, because I'm not going to shoot him with the .357 Magnum rifle, I took a shot or two with my little .22 Beretta. I've had good accuracy with it at the range, but missed him up there. And yes, always have your hunting and fishing license. Yes, one of the most fascinating things in the woods. Poo. This is clearly from a predator or a scavenger. If I had to guess, I'd say a fox based on its size, but I only found this because I saw something small and gray run across the road. I thought it might have been a bunny. Came over to take a look and whew, there are a lot of flies. I'm out of here. Oh. We're having quite the adventure just trying to get where we're going, huh, Belle? Fortunately, this ford is not mushy at the bottom. It's sandy and gravelly, but looks like beaver chews have blocked the way, making it deeper than it used to be. Fortunately, I've gone across way worse in my wheeler, but I am gonna take the dog off just in case, and I'll come back for you. Oh, you're probably not gonna like this. Gonna have to walk across this little accidental beaver dam. Ooh. At least it's washing all the mud off from earlier. Come on, puppy. Oh, don't get stuck. Don't get stuck. Come on. There we go. Good girl. Ooh, let's get through these bushes. Yeah, like I thought, it was really easy to get the wheeler across, but oh, don't drink that nasty mud water. I'll get you water when we get there. Yeah, nearly there, nearly to the river. Well, hopefully, as you can see over my shoulder, the river is right there. I'll get some better shots when I get closer to it, but I wanted to show you guys this thing. Not entirely sure what it is. It looks like it might have used to have been a bridge of some kind. It's only made out of rotted old plywood and stuff, so definitely not railroad, but I don't know. Old abandoned bridge in the woods. Well, Miss Belle, somebody was well behaved on the ride, even if you didn't like it. Have you got anything to say? Huh? All right, come on, let's go explore. We're finally at the river. There we go. Don't fall in. Don't fall in. Stay. Get back here. Get yourself back from the edge. We can go down there later for a drink. Whew. Well, I hope I wasn't boring you guys too much with the infiltration of this forested area. Nice, gorgeous river view. And today, I'm gonna try and build my first hard stand shelter. What I'm thinking of doing is getting a base of logs, building a raised bed, and then an A-frame sort of a tarp shelter over the top. See how it works. I built plenty of lean-tos, but I'm looking to make this more crafty than some of my personal projects. We'll see how it goes. So I've kind of found a good spot. Oh, hi there. Between this tree right here and this tree right here, might try to build tripods on either end and build up the bed in between them. We'll see how it goes. Since I don't have a GoPro or any fancy camera mounts, I'll just have to update the progress as I go instead of showing the action live. But before I do that, I'll hang up my backpack. And there you go. Simple, effective, especially when you don't have a tree branch you can hang it on because they're all up there. This is sort of an old growth forest, I would say. Some of the younger stuff is further back that direction. That's where I'll be getting my materials for this shelter. My poor girl's getting eaten alive by bugs, and so am I. But she needs some water. Leave it. No, leave it. Leave it. Not for puppies. Just to keep the bugs away. Very, very important. And I hope it starts working soon. There, get that smoke around. Get those bugs away. Bit hot and sweaty out here. I've cleared most of the brush from between these two trees here. I'm not too worried about the ferns and the other little plants. Mostly worried about the wild raspberries, which, although delicious when in season, which they're not, they're horribly annoying pricker bushes. And that's the last thing I want, is to be walking around my camp getting stuck in the leg by thorns. So, because it's so uneven in between these two trees, once I actually have the raised bed off of the ground, I'm thinking I might try and get some sand from the river's edge to try and level out the ground to where I'm going to have a fire. But other than that, it wouldn't really be necessary. That being said, 100% if you want to have a fire anywhere near spruce trees, absolutely have a good non-flammable base beneath it. Because if not, the embers from your fire can jump down into the roots of the spruce trees and they can smolder for days, weeks, sometimes even months before they actually pop up on fire above ground. At least that's what I've heard. I've only seen it happen, you know, maybe delayed by a day or two after there was a campfire. Come back to the site and a big old smoldering hole in the ground. Fortunately, no forest fire, but it was a close call. Don't want to repeat that. That was from when I was a young kid. But yeah, so now every time I have a fire out here in Alaska, I try to throw sand or mud or some sort of non-flammable substance underneath it. Because this place is beautiful, and we already have horrible wildfire problems anyway. I don't want to be one to contribute to it. So, yeah, time to get to work and shut up. Whew. Well, while cutting down some trees, I ran across a few things that I want to take care of before I actually start building this fort, or raised bed shelter. And those are widowmakers. Those are trees that are dead or nearly dead, that are standing somewhere where they can potentially fall on you if there's a high wind or if it's just your unlucky day. So there's, right here, there's one big one. So what I'm going to do is knock that thing down into the river. And then over here, not quite as dangerous, there's a smaller one right there. I'm going to go ahead and knock that one down too, just in case. Whew. And then there's one over here on the other side of the camp. Small, leaning away, pretty rotten. I can just about push it over, but don't want to take any chances. Only want to have good, strong, live trees near where I have my campsite. And here's a good example of why. Also, right within proximity, there's a big one right there. Now imagine that coming straight down on your campsite in the middle of the night and not having the top of it get caught in the other trees there. That's why they're called widowmakers. And I don't think my wife would appreciate me adding to the statistic, and neither would Miss Belle. Getting plenty of water. We're got a nice breeze where we're at right now, next to the river, which is one benefit of being close to the water. Kind of cuts down on the bugs, and then I have my mosquito coils. So I'm going to do everything in my power, especially once I have a fire, to keep her from getting eaten alive by bugs. Because myself, I can tolerate it. I don't want my dog being uncomfortable. I want her to enjoy this outdoors experience so that she wants to come out with me again. All right, I got a wedge cut in the tree, and you can see it's hollow on the inside. Very dead. So since I have the big notch on the side facing the river, I'm gonna widen that up a little more, start coming from the reverse side, which, you know, based on past experience, will hopefully send it off in that direction. I'm pretty confident since it's already leaning that way, but I'm gonna be extra safe and probably won't be filming any of it just to make sure that I'm not injured. Hey, perfect. Perfect, just the way I wanted it. For anyone wondering what the sound was in the background while I was dropping that tree, the guy was coming up the river on a motorboat, but in order to respect other people's privacy, didn't film him. But right when I dropped that tree, he came right around that corner. Good thing the logs floated to the side and didn't get in the way of his boat, because that would have been kind of bad. Oh, Belle, move out the way. Come on, Scoot. Cutting dead logs is harder, but I don't like cutting live trees. I don't need this to last forever. Just for at least one night. Whew. All right, I got the big stuff out of the way. Time for the medium and small. All right, I've gathered most of the materials for my shelter. Whew. I'm a little worse shape than I thought, but I'm doing all right. I figured I'd take a second to, oh, hi, puppy. Yeah, thought I'd take a second to answer a question that I've been having this whole time. Ooh, who am I, and why should you watch me? Well, as I said in the introduction, my name is Ben, with the YouTube channel Wild Last Frontier. Made that a long time ago, for when I was just watching YouTube, not making content. I was like, ooh, it's the perfect YouTube username. Especially since it also matches my Instagram, Wild Last Frontier. Go ahead and check it out if you'd like. But why should you listen to me? Well, either you're really bored, which is a legitimate thing, watching bushcraft videos on YouTube when you're bored. You like what I'm doing, which at this point all you've seen me do is drive and chop down a few trees. So I don't know if that's a good answer. Now that I think about it, why don't you answer in the comments why you would like to see anything that I do, if you'd like to see future videos. Since I'm filming all of this on my phone, if there is actually interest in what I'm doing here, maybe I might upgrade my setup, get a good chest mount or head mounted camera so I can show you what's going on first person. Hopefully you guys share my perspective on the outdoors, protecting what we have left, encourage hunting and fishing as long as it's done legally and morally, ethically. Firearms safety, obviously you've seen a couple firearms already. Absolutely abiding by firearms safety, firearms laws and regulations, what have you. All right, it's hard enough to go camping, let alone survive, let alone do anything recreationally, if you don't follow firearm safety laws, or just good practices in general. I don't know if my saw is dull or this wood is just made out of something else, because I haven't had this much trouble sawing logs before, not even with this thing. I've had pretty good luck with these foldable camp saws until today. Maybe it's time to upgrade or get a new one. All right, well, it just looks kind of like a jumbled mess of logs right now, which it is. Time to get out the 550 cord, start lashing up some some poles together. Now earlier I said might do a tripod on either end, but Ben, there are only 2 sticks here. Well, there's the third. So if I lash together these 2 poles, put a cross beam across the middle, and then lean it against there, 1 + 2 + 3. There we go. I'm gonna do that on both sides, then use these much bigger logs sitting on the cross members. Hopefully they'll be supported enough. If not, I'll cut a log to fit underneath each side or roughly about the middle to give it even more support. Then once that's in place, cut out of this smaller wood little sticks to go sideways across and just all the way down. We'll see how it turns out. Gotta have enough room for me and Belle. Whoa, oh, dropped the ladder. Well, to save me some work, instead of doing lashings, I'm gonna start off with some arbor knots. Thank you very much, Corporal's Corner, for showing me the importance of that. Oh, the wind's too strong. See, this is why I need to buy a GoPro and a mount so I can use 2 hands out. Anyway, I'm gonna do an arbor knot like this, then bend the sticks, or the logs rather, apart, which will somewhat loosen the knot a little bit. It'll give it a nice, solid anchor point at the top without having to waste cordage doing a bunch of wraps and fraps with normal lashing style. Arbor knot, holding the bipod to the tree, turning it into a tripod, followed by, oh, stuck on followed by 2 1/2 inch safety knot. Now I just trim this, and this is good to go. It's almost as tight as a guitar string. All right, let's see if I can do this. Arbor knot. Got a safety knot in the end of our cord. Pass it around the tree. Ah. All right, so we've got it like this. The one with the safety knot goes over the other. Maybe this will show it better. Goes over the other, back around itself. It keeps losing focus, and it's hard to tie one-handed. Please be patient with me. All right, and then back through itself like that. Right, then you can then ratchet it almost like a ratchet strap, and it stays tight. There we go. So now you don't have to do the safety double half hitch, but I just like doing it because it's easy. Oh boy, that was a decent amount of work right there. But crisscrossing arbor knots tied together with the tails on, tied together on the tails with a square knot, just to tidy it up. Crossed arbor knots, and there we go. All right, now you might be thinking, this is an awful lot of work. This is an awful lot of cordage. This can't be a survival shelter. And you'd be right. It is not a survival shelter. It's a bushcraft shelter, which I would like to make the important distinction. A lot of people don't seem to see the difference between survival and bushcraft. Bushcraft, crafting in the bush. Survival, staying alive at all costs. So would I waste the calories and the energy doing something like this that I've already been working on for 3 hours, and I just now have 2 tripods worked out? No, absolutely not. What I would do in a survival situation out here, if my, say my 4-wheeler broke down or something, I would walk out. It's only a couple miles. Say I'm injured, I can't walk out, even though it's only a couple miles. No cell signal. What do? Start a really big fire with a lot of smoke. Even if the firefighters are mad at you when they get there, at least you'll be rescued. But more important than any of that before I left, I let my wife know exactly where I was going, when to expect me back, and conditions under which she should call search and rescue or the police or whatever, right? So, told her the location, the mile marker on the highway that I was going to, where I'd be parking my truck, the general area in the woods that I'd be going to, and number 3, if I am not back home or have not made contact by tomorrow night, she knows that something is very wrong, right? It's simple. If you're going out in the woods, hunting, camping, hiking, bird watching, fishing, whatever you want to do, just tell somebody, right? Hey boss, this is where I'm going. If you don't hear back from me by X time, call search and rescue. And then stick to your timeline. That's important. If you just decide to spend an extra night out in the woods that you weren't planning on without it being an emergency situation, people call search and rescue, they're gonna be mad. Fortunately, I've never had to call search and rescue because I've always been able to find my way out of a place even if I got lost. But that's a whole new set of skills that I'm not talking about in this video. I've already rambled on about stuff that doesn't matter for too long. So I'm just gonna cut this part out. Alaskan incense. Hey puppy. Hey baby. Right now I'm just going along my ridgepole, feeling for anything that might be sharp enough to puncture my tarp, and knocking it off with the axe. Nice. Sit. Say please. Good girl. I'm beginning to see why the chainsaw was invented. Oh, look at all those bugs flying around. But none of them around you, which means my anti-bug stuff is working, huh? Are you not the prettiest dog in the world? Pretty sure you are. Don't tell your sister. Oh, the attack! Belle. Little Belle just treed a squirrel. Caught me completely by surprise. Oh, might have been able to catch that. There's a little bit of movement. Good girl, Belle. You found a squirrel. And it's right next to camp, too. Oh, if he comes down, I might be eating him for dinner. Or her. We kill all kinds here. For legal reasons, that's a joke. Alright, so quick note on this build. There is a little bit of deflection turning the stick sideways. So what I'm doing with these is I'm laying the fat ends on that side and the skinny ends on this side to try and get this to kind of get straight, which will make it easier to go forward. Same with this. Fat ends on this side, skinny ends on that side. Try and level it out. And then the middle should all be straight. It's mostly cosmetic, but it also will make it go over quicker. However, I'm exhausted from using this saw. You can barely cut through this wood. So I'm gonna have a little bit of a boost with some carbohydrate electrolyte beverage powder orange, natural and artificial flavors. Pretty sure there's some small print around here somewhere that says not fit for human consumption, but well. Always important to eat your fruits and veggies. Still not done. I really think the saw is the problem here, because I've used other saws that would have done this in about half the time. If anything, I might just space out what I've already got once I've cut these last two poles to size. Might just space it out, and then what I'm planning to do anyway is run long poles on top of them, end to end, and then put a couple arbor knots along it just to sandwich them together. This will also give it like a little bit of a bump on either side to help keep me from rolling off after I put my bedding on it. So we shall see. But at least there's a breeze, the bugs aren't too bad, there's a great view. Finally. Got the raised bed. Whew. It's now almost 8 o'clock at night. Of course, in the summer I don't have to worry about losing daylight. But I'm about as tired as my dog. So, I'm gonna get my sleeping stuff laid out. I'm gonna get my tarp staked out and figure out some way to, you know, be able to enter and exit this thing. And then I'm gonna make some dinner. Well, make a fire, make some dinner. Well, that was less dramatic than I hoped. Sleeping in style tonight. We got one wool blanket, camp pillow, sleeping bag, wool blanket, and the thermarest. This might just be the most comfortable night's sleep, depending on how many bugs eat me, that I've ever had camping on a raised bed shelter that I built myself. So, just got to get that tarp over top here, figure out a way to have this side, which will be facing my fire over here, this side, able to open and close almost like a swing door. And Miss Belle, place, come on, place, come on, good girl. Is that comfy? Yeah, I bet it is. Oh, that's a good puppy. Well, it is dog bearing. We'll see if it's people bearing later. There she is. May not be pretty, may not be small. Took a damn lot of work. But Belle loves it. Come here, puppy. Come on. Place. Good girl. Oh, she loves it. Oh, yes, she does. Good girl. All right, well, that is good for me. So I'd say, well, especially since the wind's coming directly from that direction, coming this way, heading that way, that's both good and bad. It's good because when I have the fire going, it'll keep the smoke going towards me and keep the bugs away. Also sucks because it'll have smoke in my face if I'm sitting on my campsite or sitting on my raised bed. However, another good thing is, once I drop this side I made sure goes all the way to the ground. Whoop, there's my hand. All the way to the ground, which means at night, no wind will come in from that side, because on this side, the tarp only goes up to there. Alright, so it's got extra overhang on the front of the shelter. Alright, and when it's time to go to bed, I just take out the Y-poles, take out the guy lines that I've tied to trees, drop it down, and try and have a good quiet night. Alright, up next, I gotta do my fire pit, which I want to be at least one full pace away from the shelter here, just so no sparks or embers come up and burn my blankets or light me on fire. So, alright, so right about here. So I'm gonna have to clear all of this brush away, bring in some extra sand. I might be able to find stones to ring it. Ooh, yep, there's some good stones down there. So I'll get some stones, build a fire pit, start a fire, and get these bugs the hell away from us. Isn't that right, puppy? Alright. Fire pit in. Dang it. Feel like Santa Claus bringing all the little kids sand for their fire pits. Oh god, my wife would kill me for that pun, but I hope y'all appreciate it. Santa Claus. Is it a good joke if you don't make yourself laugh? Santa Claus is coming to town. Oh, oh, Santa Claus is coming to town. Alright, I'm really done now. Are you helping or hurting? Oh, of course you're helping. Well, I don't know if I'll be able to get this on video, but I found a giant skipping rock. So let's see here. Hey, look at that. So, if anyone ever watches these, and I keep continuing doing them, you will find out pretty rapidly that when I have the materials, I like to build up a beefy fire pit. And nothing like a good, well-made fire pit to make a bushcraft fire look even nicer. Of course, you know, you could always just have a little lump of dirt or sand or something. But to me, I just personally like having a nice ring of different colored stones. Just makes everything look real pretty in the firelight. It's only necessary to a certain degree, but I mean, I think that looks better than just a hole in the dirt. We'll see how it looks with a fire in it. Let's find a good tree. My favorite tinder, although not the only source out here, my favorite tinder is birch bark. It just so happens there's a beautiful birch tree right here. Let's see if I can get the actual sunlight on it. Right? So, with birch tree, got this nice crinkly birch bark that slips off the side, right? It is absolutely important not to cut in with a knife and cut off chunks of it, right? That can actually damage or kill the tree, or it basically injures it. You wouldn't like if someone cut off a piece of your skin, right? So this stuff out here is like dead skin that just peels off, no harm done. If you actually cut away the bark, that's like skinning someone alive, so don't do it, right? This stuff is pretty good, and you can light it with a match, lighter, anything else that you want to do. Perfect source of tinder. However, since I want to use a striker, you got to get the, let's see if it'll focus. Oh, maybe not. Maybe. Look at my hand. Right, take my word for it, since it's blurry and it's only focusing on my mouth. There we go. There's some oh dang it. Anyway, there's some very, very fine little pieces on this birch bark. Right, I want to collect as many of those tiny little, less than paper thin pieces, and those will ignite almost instantly with a ferrocerium rod. Sparks off of, I don't know if sparks off a dead lighter would work. Well, I might try that in a future video. Anyway, I'm going to collect a bunch of this stuff, lay it out by the fire, and hopefully I can get a good shot of me using a striker. However, since I'm filming on my phone, we'll see. Well, we just had some more boats go by, which might be, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but probably. Airboats this time. Alright, I got the camera set up on that Widowmaker that I cut down, the stump of it, so sorry for the weird angle, but that's the best I got as far as a tripod goes right now. Anyway, I'm going to be using a striker, a ferrocerium rod, alright, attached with a dummy cord. Dummy cords exist for a reason, because there are dummies. Anyway, with this, what I'm gonna do, might be hard to film, is grip the striking part in my dominant hand, little bugs, place it against the rod, and then pull the rod away, keeping this as still as I can. That'll shoot the sparks into the tinder without scattering the tinder. If I do it the other way and hold the rod still and scrape, see where my hand's going? My hand will go right into that tinder bundle and knock it around, so I want to pull. All right. Oh. Nope. Caught the edge of the lichen, but not the bark. Ow. Ooh, got my own finger. That's a first. Ow. There. Oh. There we go. All right, now I have a big pile of birch bark laying by so it doesn't go out. Glad I was actually able to film that, even if it's canted at a dumb angle. But you can see the oils from the birch bark make it burn ferociously. That's why you don't want to put too much birch bark in, otherwise it can really rear up into your face. But now that I got that going, throw the kindling on, not a problem to get that lit. And then I'll add some fuel whenever it's ready and get it down to coals to try and cook some food. Well, boil water to put into my dehydrated meal. When building a cooking fire, I like to build it in sort of a woven pattern out. Oh, smoke. Outwards, but contained, and flat as possible, so that way when it burns straight down into a good bed of coals. If you build it up, it's going to send sparks and bits of embers and stuff flying everywhere. The lower you can keep it, the better, in my opinion. I only have a little small pile of firewood, basically the cast off from when I was building the shelter. Oh, hey, sweetie. Oh, you're so cute. You're distractingly cute. There's a blanket. Anyway, I'm gonna let this burn down, and while I do that, I'm going to go get my meal. Look at that. What'd I say? That's maybe 10 minutes straight down into beautiful cooking coals. All right. Oh, excuse me, Belle. Let's get into the meal. I like to carry my own utensils with me. I've also got titanium cup, titanium kettle, titanium French press, and then little steel tins full of coffee, sugar, salt, and the like. Don't need to worry about that yet because this is our meal. This is a meal cold weather, U.S. military Arctic, quote, Arctic ration. It's effectively, literally a mountain house meal with a whole bunch of awesome snacks. Way better than regular MREs, however they are extraordinarily calorie dense since they're meant to be eaten with immense physical exertion in Arctic environments. So I probably won't eat the whole thing other than the main meal, maybe a snack. And then I'm gonna make myself some coffee and just enjoy the not quite sunset because it won't set, but enjoy the late evening light. It is It is 9:15 p.m. I got out here pretty late. I didn't start till maybe 2-3 p.m. But still, building this thing took quite a long time. And now it's covered in all sorts of stuff. Ah, yes. That's my coffee mug. Shh. Alright, so this one's looking pretty good. We have our main meal, the seafood chowder. As you can see, it's just a freeze-dried brick. And, what'd I say? Mountain House, which means infinitely better than regular MREs. Veggie crackers, probably for breakfast tomorrow morning. Fudge brownie, yeah, I'm chomping that down for dessert. Beverage powder grape, I will save that for when I'm doing some hard work tomorrow. And ramen noodles. And of course the toiletry pack. Nice. And a plastic spoon, which I hate. That's why I got my metal stuff. Have a nice lavender incense stick. Please don't knock it over. Come to think of it, I'm actually really glad that she stays so close to me. Especially out here in the woods, don't like her running off. My other dog, she will take off like a rocket out here in the woods. She will just zoom off. And I'll call her and call her and call her for 5 minutes, and then she'll come back happy as she ever has been. Nothing wrong. But when I go to sleep at night, she'll just be tearing up through the woods. Doing her thing. Coming back to check in like once every couple hours. Barely sleeps all night if she ever does. So I don't like coming out here with my bloodhound. She's a little too high-strung for camping anymore. Never had a problem with her. Never had an injury. Never had an animal attack or something like that. But yeah, Belle stays close. She likes being with her dad. I tell you what, having a kettle has really changed everything for me camping. I have boiled water in regular cups and camping pots and tin cans and everything else, but nothing compares to a lightweight kettle. It's just so much more efficient. It's not even funny. Oh, please don't jump down here, puppy. You're getting a lot of screen time. It's because you're cute. Well, water's on the fire, but before I actually get to eating, I'm going to talk about something that I don't think enough people discuss in outdoors camping and bushcrafting videos and such, and that is hygiene. A little bar of soap, throw it in your pack, that's all you really need. Especially out in the woods, where any and every cut can get infected and will, right? So out there, chopping up wood, got all sorts of little nicks and scrapes and cuts all over my hands, both hands, torn up, right? And every single one of those cuts will get a minor infection if I don't take care of it, right? So I need to keep myself clean in order to keep myself healthy, in order to avoid getting infected cuts, which nobody likes. So yeah, more people should just carry a bar of soap with them when they go camping. That's my apparently strong opinion. Oh, hot, hot, hot. Whew. Hopefully there's enough left over for coffee, because I need some. Ooh. Maybe a little more. Carefully. Coffee is a precious resource. That's why I have 2 tins of it. Wouldn't you know it, the whole time I had a chair sitting on my 4-wheeler. So I stood around hunched over, back hurting for no reason. But food and coffee time. I probably won't film myself eating it and drinking it because I'm exhausted. Maybe we'll have a couple words over a cup of coffee. How does that sound? One of the most satisfying things about camping. And the only thing the French ever did right. Oh, is that not the most appetizing thing you've ever seen? Trust me, it tastes way better than it looks. It's actually better than some chowder that I've had at restaurants. Thanks, Mountain House. Alright, chow time, coffee time. Catch you in a bit. My father was in the military, so I grew up with that lifestyle. When I was old enough, I joined as well. However, I am not going to share any further details on my military service. Alright, I see too much drama all around of people trying to say who's legit and who's not, based on who they are, what they've done, what schools they've gone to, whether or not they've deployed, what their rank is, all of that crap. Nope. From the start, not having any of that. I'm currently serving in the United States military, and that's all the details I'm willing to share. So, yeah. Also, I'm an Eagle Scout. Oh, there's a moth on my hand. Oh, hi, buddy. Oh, hi, friend. Clearly, I'm also distractible. So, probably undiagnosed ADHD, but if you've also got undiagnosed ADHD, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. I've been hiking, camping, doing outdoor recreational stuff across many different places in the United States, as well as overseas, over in Europe, Germany, not quite so much in France, just a little camping there. Some awesome hikes and camping in Switzerland. So I'm not just some down home backwoods redneck from Alaska. I've been around. I just happen to love Alaska, and I've lived most of my life here. So with that, out of necessity comes a lot of hiking, camping, outdoorsy, bushcrafty skills. That's pretty much my resume. Is I like doing it. I've done it most of my life. Been a scout and serving in the United States military. Well, it's a little later in the day than I wanted, but it was a good dinner. It's a good dinner. Mountain House always comes through, even when it comes to MREs. Well, either way. Sipping some coffee. And enjoying the, it's not quite dying light. The sun's kind of going behind clouds and there's ridge lines around, but it doesn't ever really set this time of year in Alaska. But a few words over this cup of coffee. Why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why am I talking to myself out in the woods? Pretending that there's somebody listening on the other side. Hoping, I should say. Hoping there's somebody gonna listen on the other side. Well, I like doing this stuff anyway. It's relaxing to me. Hard work, hot food, good cup of coffee. Spending time with the pup. Isn't that right? Licking your chops after the scraps from dinner, huh? But more than anything, I am doing this to test myself rather than show anything off. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to, teach people how to do everything that I'm doing. And part of that is a selfish reason. I don't get paid to do that, right? So I'm not going to monetize any of my videos, I don't think, at least at this point. So I'm just sharing an experience. Maybe at a later date, I'll start doing stuff that's more like tutorials or explanations or things like that. But for now, this is just me doing stuff out in the woods to test myself. Yeah, coffee sip. So, I don't like to be preachy. I don't like to be preachy at all. I hate it when other people are preachy to me. Yeah, bugs, come on. I'll say this though. Too many people, young, old, in between, boomers, Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, whoever the hell, anything in between that I might have missed. Not enough of them at any level, regardless of what preconceived stereotypes people have, not enough of them actually test themselves in any meaningful way. People will say, oh, there's guys working on an oil rig, or there's guys serving their country, or, there's people that have really hard jobs in justice system, or police officers, law enforcement. Yeah, those jobs exist, but it's a small percentage of the population, right? I'm even upsetting myself with the preachy soundingness of what I'm saying, but outside of a very small population, very small percentage of the world, not just the United States, challenges themselves in any heartfelt, meaningful way. There are people that live lives, day-to-day lives, scraping out an existence that's harder than most people, most of the rest of the country or world can comprehend, right? I don't know where I'm going with that, but basically at the end of the day, people live this stuff, have lived this stuff, will continue to live this stuff. So showing it the proper amount of respect, I think, is what I'm getting at. Not calling anyone out, not trying to start any drama with my first ever YouTube video. But a lot of people treat it so casually, and I think it's better for everyone if we take a moment to realize that the only reason we can practice these skills recreationally is because our ancestors actually lived it. If they hadn't, they'd have died before having kids. Or had kids, then died, and then their kids would have died. That's very morbid. Another sip of coffee. Just coffee. Anyway, it's not a problem to do bushcrafty stuff recreationally. It's not a problem to do it as a hobby. I just think that everyone who does it should reflect for a moment and realize that these are the skills that have kept people alive. It's not just what some people do for fun. Yeah, preachy moment over. It is fun, but just recognize that that it goes a little beyond that. And studying the history of the ancient peoples, particularly of the Americas, is really cool. And the creative, inventive stuff that they were able to do while living this sort of lifestyle, right? All over the world, people lived as hunter-gatherers and in simple shelters and adverse conditions, and were still able to come up with amazing art and architecture, all sorts of craziness. All the while living in a house made of sticks, or mud, or rocks, or wood, or whatever. Yeah, Belle's telling me that I've been rambling long enough. She wants some kisses. Yeah, I definitely prefer camping with a dog to doing it by myself. Anyway, my long-winded, nonsensical rant is kind of over. But if I do continue to do videos, I want to sort of repeat this next to the fire, a cup of coffee in hand, just have a couple thoughts that I'll spit at the screen. You know, throw a bunch and see if any of it sticks. But just taking a quiet moment to reflect on the people in the past who had to live this. And there are people in the present who have to live this kind of lifestyle. Generally speaking, not by their own choice like I am. But yeah, that's our quiet moment thought of the day is think about all of the people who lived hard lives so that our lives can be easier. So, finish this coffee, taking a rest, gonna lay down, and just enjoy the sound of the river. Well, I definitely learned my lesson. Next time, land the fish, then take out the phone to film it. Yet another reason that I might get a GoPro, because if I had that, I could have just clicked that thing on, showed you guys the action, and kept the fish. Either way, particularly in this area, because these are wild fish, they get really hook shy really fast. And not only that, even if I did catch it, I would have to release it. Catch and release only, single hook only. Gotta follow all the fishing laws. Alright, last thing before I sign off for bed for the night. Whether or not I'll sleep due to all this daylight, we'll see. What's that? Did somebody drink out of my very much unmarked bottle full of clear brown liquid? Huh, that's strange. Anyway, last thing before the night is wrapping up. I'm gonna wash some dishes, boil some water, refill my water bottles, and in the morning I'll let y'all know how it was to sleep on this thing. Honestly though, it felt more comfortable than my bed at home, at least when I briefly laid down on it to test it out, and clearly Belle agrees.
Good morning. Oh boy. Didn't sleep much last night, but that didn't have anything to do with the shelter. Belle was taking up half of this 9-foot long freaking thing. But stayed dry, stayed warm, plenty of space, but not too much. It's coffee time.
Well, for reasons that are unclear to me, I've been unable to restart my fire with my striker. So, because I'm petty, and I also like testing stuff out, I'm not going to give it a choice. These things are awesome, by the way. I've dunked them in water, pulled them back out, and they're still going. Alright. That's what my ferro rod gets for getting between me and my coffee. Yeah, stormproof matches. I don't like starting fires with matches recreationally, but when it comes to camping, bushcraft stuff, I want fire. Nothing beats a stormproof match, just about. Well, this morning, I almost had the idea that I was going to run off and jump in this nice cool pool and wash myself off, have a little wilderness bath. And then I was struck with a sudden bout of not stupid. I am not doing that. That water's way too cold. Ah, yes. The good old American breakfast. Nothing so far. Ooh, other than bugs biting me. Always nice to have the line in the water though. Belle! She's chasing squirrels. She loves chasing squirrels. She just treed 2 of them earlier. If I had a good rifle or a shotgun, I could have got them. Come here, squirrel dog. Good girl. Who knew? This is her first time ever being off the leash with squirrels, and her first instinct was to tree them. Well, she was trying to grab them, but she treed them and stayed with the tree watching it. She keeps looking back at the same tree. Good girl, Belle. Oh, I think they're gone though. Good dog. You see another squirrel? Pretty dog. Let's do a little after action. What did I come out here to do? I came out here to build a raised bed platform. Success. First one of this kind that I've actually built. I've seen it done a few times, but first one that I've actually built. Some feedback on that is it's much more labor intensive than it looks, especially in a cut video. I think just these cross pieces alone, which, remember, I didn't even fill all of the gaps. I just said, screw it, I'm gonna stop here and call good enough good enough. Just that part alone took nearly 2.5 hours. Just that part alone. Part of that, oh, I put it away. Part of that is due to that saw. So, a little feedback for myself from this, get a better saw. At the end of the day, still effective, still got the job done. It would have been nicer to have all of these gaps filled in here, but at the same time, it was completely stable all night and I didn't feel anything move, so functional, yes. What I want it to be, not quite. So, with some better equipment, I can make sure that next time I come out and try to do something like this, that I will do a better job faster with less energy spent. Let's see. Didn't catch any fish, didn't shoot any squirrels, but that's fine. I had plenty of food with me. Did I challenge myself? Yes, absolutely I challenged myself, which was part of my goal. I was a little surprised at myself that I was actually able to come out here and do all of this hard work without really even feeling all that tired. I even barely slept last night and I still don't even feel that tired, so I think I'm doing okay in that department. But it was challenging, and I was able to do it. So, goal met. Did I have fun? Absolutely. Absolutely I had fun. And it was great being out here with the dog too. Oh, here's another squirrel. It's great being out here with Belle as well. She's a loyal little pup.
she doesn't stray too far from the campsite, I don't have to constantly be watching over my shoulder because I know that she's going to be within visual range, or at the very least, she'll come running if I shout, if she's out of sight. Haven't seen her go more than like 100 yards from the camp without me though, which is good news. That means next time I go camping, I won't have to worry at all. So to wrap it up, came out here to challenge myself. Success. Built the raised platform bed. Success. Had fun. Great success. Didn't lose the dog. That's an important one. But yes, overall I'd say this so far has been a pretty good success. I'm just gonna chill out here for, I don't know, a while more, and then I'll break down and head home. All right, well, I think it's time to call it. Time to pack up and head out. Pretty proud of this thing. First of its kind that I've made. And a good little campsite. The camp's broken down, as you can see. All that's left is a few ashes in the fire, and my backpack and trash bag that I gotta strap to the four-wheeler. But once again, important aspect of being out in the woods: hygiene. It's really important to have good teeth. Well, that about does it for today. I won't bore you with the details of heading out, but thank you for watching this video of my overnight bushcrafting trip with my beautiful baby Belle. And let me know what you think and whether or not you want to keep seeing me do stuff like this. Stay wild. Everything's a little harder when you're by yourself. A bit hot and sweaty. All right, well, it just looks kind of like a jumbled mess of logs right now. Well, it was touch and go there for a bit. I almost got stuck a few times. Absolutely have a good non-flammable base beneath it. It's muddy, soupy mess wherever it's wet, hot and dry where it's not. Potentially fall on you if there's a high wind or if it's just your unlucky day. Overnight bushcraft build, raised bed. Yeah. Anyway, let me try again. Screw you, grouse, you're out of season. Oh, I would eat you. It's got babies! It's got tiny little babies. I'm sorry I said I would eat you. Oh, look at that, it's so cute. I'm sorry, Mama, you're doing a great job. I wouldn't eat you.